Good morning and welcome to World Talks. My name is Diana Skaya. In this edition, we focus on the latest developments taking place in Serbia. Now, the country is facing a deepening political crisis. Dramatic scenes unfolded in Parliament where opposition MPs set off smoke grenades in protest against what they call an increasingly authoritarian government. Now, the shakeup stems from rising public anger over corruption, ongoing energy concerns, and Serbia's complicated ties with both Russia and the European Union. And to help us understand all of this, I'm joined by Mariya Heletiy, member of the advisory board of the International Diplomacy Initiative, and Nikola Ćurčin, vice president of Independent Teachers Union of Serbia. Welcome to the program. Good to have you both on. All right, Mariya, if we can start with you. I mean, we've had, some scenes unfolding there in the parliament. What's your take on this? I mean, what does this tell us about Serbia's state of democracy? And most importantly, how is, I remember now the health status of one of the, I believe there was an injured MP that suffered a stroke, reports said, and another person who was 8 months pregnant. What can you tell us on how they're feeling also today?
Good morning. Actually, the situation in Serbia, I think, is something what we observed and which was developed for some time. I think it is something would happen for 2-3 years. People want changes, and these changes are not coming because, and when we see at elections, usually the same political parties, the same politicians are coming to power. Even the last elections last year did not allow opposition to be elected. And it's partially, in my opinion, opposition fault, because opposition actually did not propose something to people what different from the ruling party. At the end, people actually elect what is more understandable for them, more clear for them, and maybe because they like Vučić, they like his development of the country, how he moved country. Actually, I think it is the reason why the country is at this situation. At the same time, Serbia is a candidate member for the European Union, and it is expected that Serbia will join European Union. Of course, rule of law, anti-corruption efforts, and fight against crime, plus also environment for civil society and media is under question, and they should improve it. But still, it is like situation when country is trying, but still need to do better to improve the situation with democracy, with rule of law, and anti-corruption efforts.
Nikola, are we seeing a deeper political crisis within Serbia's political institutions?
Yes, well, I would like to put some context to yesterday's events in the parliament. So on the 28th of January, the prime minister resigned because of an incident where party members of his ruling party, directly connected to him, used baseball bats to hurt students. And this was a huge scandal, and it was in the middle of the protests. And this was the response. But this did not go to Parliament, because after you give a public resignation, the Parliament needs to acknowledge this resignation. And this didn't happen until yesterday. So they prolonged this period. And during this period, the government actually imposed new laws, which is not possible when the government's resignation is, let's say, constituted in the Parliament. So they used legal violence actually to impose that the government would continue to actually work, although it's under resignation. So I think the thing. So we had more than 60 laws yesterday before confirming the resignation of the government. So this is something that was seen by the opposition as an abuse of law, and the crisis is really deep. And what we are afraid of, actually, is that we are sliding slowly into Lukashenko-style authoritarian government, because there is a very high pressure on the media. There is no reluctance to the students' demands, and the hundreds of thousands of people are on the street.
Nikola,
so this is we are expecting this crisis to unfold in the other direction.
Nikola, you did say something about those laws. Now, what are those key concerns surrounding the ruling party's push to pass multiple laws without actually proper debate?
Yes, this is a huge issue because you have educational laws, you have mining laws. This is actually an abuse of law. So this has been constant in late years, but now it has culminated because the government has actually resigned and it's still pushing things without proper public discussion. So this is what I think outraged the people. And we really hope for the exit from this political crisis because and it cannot be by strong hand government pushing against the people.
Maria, what's your comment? What's your comment on this? On what Nikola has just mentioned? I mean, also, you also referred to corruption here in the beginning, and how widespread is corruption? I mean, to what extent is it at the time being, and how is the European Union addressing or failing to address this aspect, this corruption aspect in Serbia right now?
I think corruption and organized crime was something like on the agenda always. I think it is issue which is Serbia basically could not overcome, and the problem that it is takes time from the times when Serbia led all wars in Balkans. I believe that it's very difficult actually to be back to normal from wars to normal peaceful stay. And these issues, corruption and rule of law, were always on the agenda of the European Union. I mean, when they discussed with Serbia why EU integration, actually it was the top priority. And Serbia did not implement the necessary changes to improve situation. Therefore, Serbia actually is not integrated in the European Union because actually for Serbia, if you look at economy and other aspects, Serbia could be a member of European Union already, but because of these challenges, it is not. And European Union trying to support Serbia, trying somehow to push this process, but still, you can't force country to implement reforms. You can advise, you can provide financial support, you can put some pressure, but still you can't force country, and you can do country's work instead of the country.
But Maria, so I mean, what is it,
situation?
Maria, so what is it going to take for the government to actually do something? I mean, you see all these people out there in the streets. You see, for example, something that happened yesterday. I mean, first of all, how do you even get grenades inside a parliament? I mean, is there no security checks that are being done? I mean, that's what shocked me the most here. But I mean, what is it really going to take for the government to implement some kind of change and go into also protesters' demands?
I believe that resignation of the government is not a solution. I believe that prosecution of the people responsible for the crime, for the situation which led to killings of 15 people when the roof of the train station collapsed, would be a solution. People should be accountable. People should respond for those inefficient work which led to death. It should be criminal law should be applied. Second, of course, students has own demand. They want some cuts in fees for education. But I believe that first step should be done punishment of those who are responsible for corruption, for construction, for improper construction. Those who maybe somehow facilitated, this construction work, which led to the collapse and actually to the death. Because if you don't punish people according to the legislation and just dismiss the government, it's easy way to punish people because you can have another government which would be the same loyal. You need real steps to show that you are fighting with corruption. You need real steps then you prosecute people responsible for death.
Nikola, take us through. I mean, President Vučić is going to be visiting Moscow soon. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, Serbia, does heavily rely, of course, on Russian gas and oil. How realistic is it going to be for Serbia to actually be able to diversify its energy sources later on in the future? And what is this visit to Moscow going to entail?
Well, the current situation with the oil industry in Serbia is that the main company, the only company that produces actually derivatives, gasoline for cars and everything else, is owned by a Russian company, Gazprom, and it is under American sanctions, so from the previous administration, and it's still on. And actually, the bank accounts have been mostly suspended in Serbia. Now, the current American administration gave 30 days, that was like 5 days ago, for the changes in the properties, or the actually who owns the company. So they're not allowing anymore that the Russian capital be directly in the company. So this is a big problem, and this needs to be addressed. And I think it is on some kind of margins of talks between the American and the Russian administration about Ukraine, and about generally actually about politics, as we can see. So this is a huge issue for us, because 80% of every or derivatives or gasoline is coming from these refineries. So this needs to be addressed. There are many talks how it will be done. Some of them is by involving maybe Hungarian companies. Some are by taking it by the government. We will see how it will be done, but this is an issue, and I think this is the main issue of going to Moscow. But I would like to address what you said about the European Union. I know it is definitely Ukraine, and generally security in European Union and Europe is now in the highest regard. It is good to see that, again, European Union and Great Britain after Brexit are sitting at the same table discussing this. But I think there needs to be an eye on the Balkans also, because we really need support for rule of law, and for eventually becoming members of the European Union. So yes, we know, we are aware, but we are also part of this political situation that is handling between Russia, United States, and Ukraine, and generally in Europe.
And Maria, just very briefly, we have under a minute left for the program. With growing public unrest and with everything that's happening, look, we're just seeing that right in front of you on the screens, these protests. Do you think that Serbia is heading towards a larger political crisis, or maybe even early elections? Really briefly, under a minute, please.
I believe that Serbia will somehow handle the situation, because Vučić is very knowledgeable, a very professional politician, and I believe that Serbia can have early elections, parliamentary elections, but not presidential one. And they will resolve crisis through another parliamentary elections and forming new government.
Thank you so much, Mariya Heletiy, member of the Advisory Board, International Diplomacy Initiative, and Nikola Ćurčin, Vice President, Independent Teachers Union of Serbia, for being with us here this morning on TVP World Talks. And that completes this edition of World Talks here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skaya. Thanks for watching, and stay with us for more news and features.